First of all, I want to take this opportunity to again thank the state of Michigan for their outstanding work in hosting a convention. Illinois hosted it about 3 years ago, and it is a job. It takes a lot of teamwork, and I shared with Corey, who's chairing the convention next year, it's a little bit like family. You know, you've got to learn to work together. You pull together, and you end up stronger, I think, as a team when it's all done. So join me with a round of applause again for the state of Michigan. And I also want to thank, again, the delegates and members, first of all, for the opportunity that you've given me, but also for your passion that you express for the association and the Holstein Cow, and it's that passion that really drives us all to exceed and reach a higher level of success that hopefully benefits you as farmers at home. I also want to take this time to thank the staff. I've had a lot of ability to work with staff during the past year, and the leadership there is second to none in my mind. Their dedication both to the association as a whole and to the members is without question. So I do want to thank staff, starting with CEO Meyer and all the staff. It takes a tremendous amount of work to put on this convention, so I thank the staff that does that. And I also want to thank Corey and the board of directors for their support and their dedication to this association. It is a very professional group, and you probably get tired of hearing that, but it has been the most enjoyable board experience that I've had in my life, and the professionalism that is exhibited in the boardroom is what has really made that such an enjoyable experience. But I do want to comment about two of our directors. First of all, John Burkett. We're so glad that he is here today. He did miss a couple of board meetings this year, and some of you may know that he had some health challenges. He's dealt with cancer this past year, and we're sure glad that he's here. And it's really an answer to prayer and to his determination and courage, and we're so happy for you and blessed to have you here, John. And another board member that isn't here today because of health challenges is Paul Burr, and we really regret that because this is his 6th year on the board. This is when he should be getting the accolades for his service, and due to emergency surgery, due to an infection, he's not able to travel and isn't here. So we want to acknowledge that. But he's been such a passionate fellow in leading the Genetic Advancement Committee that he's left his mark on the association and the breed. So join me in thanking the board, but especially John and Paul for their service. And I also want to thank my family, and this has become just a little more of a family affair this year than what I expected. And first of all, I thank my brother Ron for his mentorship along the way, and he actually led the Schaufelberger influence on the board of directors because he served on the board 10 years prior to me, and always said that he didn't screw up too bad or they would have never elected me. And I also have to note that this is the first time that I've not been warned or instructed before coming to a convention to make clear that he is my brother and not my dad. And then I've got to note daughter Amy, and Ron is a delegate, as you probably listened in the roll call, and daughter Amy, who actually lives in Pennsylvania now with a different last name, but she has been such a supporter to me all along, and she went to school to do communications, so she's skilled in that area, and there's times that I rely on her to critique some of the stuff I put together. So she is a good critic because she's not afraid to challenge some of the things I've written down and question that. So thank you, Amy, for your help, and I always said that you made me look good because you conduct yourself so well. We've got another daughter back in Illinois that we're very proud of, and she's not involved now in the Holstein business, but She has 3 children, stay-at-home mom, 4th one on the way, and she makes us proud every day too. And then I need to thank Sandy for her help. If you think I look good, it's because of her, not me. But she does do a lot of secretarial work, and then she also listens to me talk on the phone a lot, and she's learned just to deal with it. So I thank you for that. So anyway, I want to make those acknowledgments, and as it begin, I think this is probably the first time that I've been here to this podium that Mr. Phillips doesn't have a stopwatch on me. So before it's over with, hopefully he doesn't get one going. But anyway, it's a joy to be here. On July 20th, 1794, President George Washington, a great general, statesman, and farmer, was quoted as saying, "I know of no pursuit in which more real and important services can be rendered to any country than by improving its agriculture, its breeds of useful animals, and other branches of a husbandman's care." It's hard for me to imagine the genetic condition of agricultural animals during that time, nearly 224 years ago. But it's amazing to me that President Washington had the vision for the importance of improving the usefulness of animal agriculture. And it was people with that same vision who had the foresight to form the Holstein-Friesian Association of America in 1885, which was about 91 years later. From that time until now, and that's been 133 years, our leaders have worked with the passion and dedication to develop the Holstein cow into what she is today, the world's greatest dairy cow. And it's on that great legacy that we gather today, and it humbles me to think of all the effort that has been invested to get us to this point. Throughout that history, we've endured many challenges. The early days, we saw 2 world wars, a Great Depression, and in the 1920s, what was called milk wars. In 1935, the national dairy herd was estimated to be 42% Jersey, 40% Holstein, 16% Guernsey, and 2% other dairy breeds. During the 1980s, we had a major ag recession, which deflated values, including dairy cattle, by over 50%. We've had disease outbreaks such as BSE and foot and mouth disease, and we just heard a great presentation on the impacts of TB in the state of Michigan. And all those things have impacted the dairy economy. And in spite of all those challenges, the Holstein cow has thrived, and her place in the U.S. dairy industry has grown. And by 1996, the Holstein breed made up 93% of our national dairy herd. Although that share slipped back to 86% by 2014, I believe that with the advances in fertility and health traits, that the Holstein cow is poised to gain back that market share. Last year, I talked about 3 basic areas of Holstein USA that all have to be strong in order for this organization to go forward. And I want to go back and review some of the statistics from the last year. In 2017, identifications were at an all-time high, including the highest registration total in 27 years. And I thank and credit staff for their hard work for making that happen in difficult times. The IT upgrade has progressed on schedule. A research grant program was initiated, and ATA had its best year ever. And since the first of the year, Holstein Marketplace and TriStar AMR, a robotic milking record system, were added as new programs. And the TV program Holstein America made us all proud to be owners of registered Holsteins. Our reserve fund is a valuable asset, and a significant portion of it is being used for the IT upgrade and the research grant program. The audit committee has worked hard to manage the finances of the Holstein Association to best benefit the interests of our members. And I'm thankful for the foresight of our ancestors who, in 1902, set aside funds equal to 95% of our annual expenses for emergency use, and that fund has continued for over 100 years. We also continue to look at the Holstein cow to see how she can be made even better. 2 committees, the Genetic Advancement and Type Advisory, are charged with evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of the cow and what traits will need emphasis in our breeding programs. This year they met jointly to visualize what will be expected of the Holstein cow looking down the road 10 to 15 years. I believe the diversity of our breed is a strength, and our goal is to steer the breed in a direction where the Holstein cow is preferred by all dairymen. On another note, the show committee has been working to address an issue such as over-bagging in the show ring, and they've made it a point of emphasis at our judges' conferences. The progress in improving the Holstein cow is nothing short of incredible, and I'm excited about our future. I believe the potential to market the value of registered Holsteins genetics is huge. I'm also proud of our junior program, and it is second to none. Our Junior Advisory Committee has created a program that is preparing these junior members to be leaders in the dairy industry. Their enthusiasm is contagious, and we celebrate their accomplishments. The Foundation's YDLI is a premier leadership training program in dairy, and I believe our future is bright when these young leaders, the next generation, make an impact on our industry. But looking to the members, their plight this past year has been very difficult. Some have lost their milk market. Prices are below the cost of production. Last winter, the Legislative Affairs Committee made a list of priorities on ag issues. And at the top of their list was getting the word milk removed from the label of what we call nut juices by supporting the Dairy Pride Act. And tomorrow you'll hear a little bit more about how we're working to address that. Exports of dairy cattle have improved, and Holstein International's Marketing Committee met recently to investigate how more opportunities could benefit our members to market cattle. It's a belief of your Holstein board that Holstein's #1 job is to provide you with the tools and information you need to breed better cows. But we recognize that the biggest challenge you're facing now is the low price of milk. And I hope that during the next 2 days, we can have a conversation about how Holstein can best represent you in forming dairy policy. Dairy farmers are probably the most resilient people on the face of the earth. For me, a determined spirit is crucial to enduring storms. By my dad's picture in his senior yearbook was the quote, "I'll find a way or make one." And I learned from his example to never back away from a difficult situation. In the 80s, Sandy and I had some serious financial struggles, but the added income from the marketing of registered Holstein breeding stock no doubt played a key role to us surviving. When I started this journey 3 years ago and ran for vice president, there's a verse in the book of Joshua that became my foundation, and I've shared this with the board this past year. "Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to my forefathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." I believe that strength and courage are essential in keeping the hope of a promising future alive. I've always admired people with the character and courage to stand strong in the midst of tough times. In the movie The Darkest Hour, Winston Churchill stood firm with a conviction to lead Britain to victory against seemingly insurmountable odds and against the will of some of his closest advisors. But we have the benefit of history to know that Churchill's stand truly changed the world. At the end of the movie, this quote was attributed to Churchill. "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." I will assure you that your leadership at Holstein will not rest on the successes of the past 133 years as we go into the future. Nor will we fear failure as we look to the future. And I promise that myself and your board of directors and staff will have the courage to continue to keep Holstein USA the #1 dairy breed association in the world, and to continue to work for the best interest of you, the members, and to continue in making the world's most perfect cow even better. Thank you.